Let's get this thing started.
Morning, David.
Morning. How you doing, man?
Hey, doing good. Hope everyone's having a great Friday so far. To get this thing started, the big question of today is about the status of Anthony Richardson. Will he be ready to go tomorrow, or will the Gators sit him to prepare him for maybe the Florida Georgia game or something like that? So, do we have any updates on him?
The biggest update will be tonight. He'll have, just like last week, he'll go through an MRI sometime this afternoon, sometime this evening. That's what Mullen said anyway, to determine his status for tomorrow. I mean, look, last week he passed the MRI, so that doesn't necessarily mean he'll play. we have already seen that happen, but I would assume another week of. Mullen did say Wednesday in the SEC teleconference that he hasn't done any scrambling, any running. They haven't given him a full go yet, and that was as of Wednesday. And the most intense practice of the week is usually on Tuesday. So we'll see how much Mullen weighs that. I mean, he knows what Richardson can bring to the table more. So I'm not so sure being a full go in a Tuesday practice is the ultimate factor if he's going to play or not. So we'll get hopefully. We did hear word like around last Friday, early Saturday morning of what the results were, and many kind of assumed that he would play because he was clear, but he didn't play. We'll more wait and see mode there. Now, opinion for what we can maybe move forward with is, do you play him? Do you not play him? If he's 100%, and the big worry last week was that he could hurt himself even more, but if he's 100% and that worry is out there that he's not going to hurt himself anymore, then I play him. I mean, I think he needs all the reps he can get. Reps are important. Game reps are important. You can't replace that. You can't replicate it. So, they weigh heavy for me. Looks like they weigh heavy for the staff too. That's why they, in some of those games against FAU, USF, so the world, they put the backups in. They want to get game rep, game film on those players because those type of plays weigh a whole lot. So if he's eligible, if he's ready to go, if he can play, I'll play him. And now I know there's the thought of you save him versus Kentucky, you save him versus Florida, Georgia. Um, I I don't think that way. I think you play him if he's a full go. But if there's any hesitation, and I mean even the slightest hesitation, then you rest him another week. I want him more for Kentucky than I do Tennessee. I think Kentucky's going to be the toughest test. A game where Florida may need some more explosive plays when you look at it in that regard. So, but if he's 100% ready to go, I'll play him against Tennessee.
All right, thank you, David. Hope everyone has a great Friday. God bless, and go Gators.
Go Gators. All right. Anybody else? Hop on in here. Let's get this thing going. But, man, yeah, this Tennessee game. I mean, we did get word yesterday also that more than likely Kyrie Elam will be out versus Tennessee. Will not play. You go and look at that kind of ugly hit that him and Trey Dean collided on. His knee just takes a weird angle, and looks like a knee sprain there for Kyrie Elam. I think if Florida was playing Alabama tomorrow, he'd play. I don't think it's that serious, but just something to look out for with this up-tempo offense. Tennessee coming in here to Gainesville. Let's get Tyler Overstreet in here. Remember, you guys are being recorded, so I can put this out for people who miss it. So, but these things are going pretty well. Tyler, man, welcome.
Hey, Dave. I was going off the Kyrie Elam, piggybacking off of that.
Mm-hmm.
We sat Pitts last year against LSU when he was supposedly cleared. And, in my opinion, that, tells the team, hey, we got this game in the bag. We don't really need Pitts for this game. And I'm kind of getting the same feeling with Kyrie. It sounds like he's ready to go. We don't want to risk him. But what message does that send the team, you think, when a player's, borderline ready to go or ready to go, and we sit them anyways?
Here's the thing about Pitts last year in LSU. Like, we didn't hear anything during the week, all week. There wasn't anything from the week before. I mean, the only thing you could have went back to was the injury versus Georgia, of course, and that was about a month before that. At least with Elam, it is coming off the heels of the Alabama game. You saw it. He did play on after in that game. So I think you could probably point to that too, saying, okay, well, if he could finish that game, probably maybe he could play versus Tennessee. But I get that feeling, but I just think right on the heels of the Alabama game and it happening just last week, um, I don't I don't get the LSU feeling there. I don't get me wrong. I don't think you're wrong in feeling that way. I do think though that right now it's so early in the season, you don't want to take chances. That was later in the season, and I mean, you did think you were going to beat LSU, but this being so early in the season, if he was to go out there and re-injure it, then you're missing for many more games than what Pitts would have been lost last year. So you got to think there is still, the other um, 2 quarters of the season that still have to be played here. When thinking about Kyrie, Elam, some bigger games on the schedule as well. And that's probably what they were thinking with Pitts last year too. I mean, look, we get the SEC championship game next week. Let's save him. So I can see it in that regard, but I just think with so many more games to play, that you want your star number one out there as much as possible. So I don't have an issue with it, but I can see why people would come in off of last year in that Pitt situation versus LSU.
Yeah, and that's my only issue with it. I think we can obviously beat Tennessee without him, but we thought that against LSU last year, and looking back, my God, it would have helped to have Pitts play that game. So
Absolutely. And look, I'm going to take one positive from it. I mean, Marshall and Helm need all the reps they can get.
That's true.
Right now, and one of those guys being quote unquote CB1 tomorrow when Elam is out is I think a little bit of good thing, a little bit of pressure on them, see how they react with some pressure there. And against, I mean, I'll say an okay Tennessee offense with that up tempo just gives them experience versus an up tempo offense. I mean, this is the fastest offense in the country right now, so you get some experience there. For somebody like Jason Marshall, I mean, Helm too, honestly, because he hasn't played a whole lot. I mean, this is some good experience for those guys going against an offense like this that they're not going to see an offense like this maybe in their career again until they play Tennessee next year that goes this fast that consistently. So of course it's going to start up front for Florida, but one positive I'll take from it is those guys getting some more experience back there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thanks, Dave.
No problem, man. But yeah, that's the big storyline there. If you want to look at injury, what is the status of AR? Will he play? And Kyrie Elam more than likely not playing versus Tennessee. So that is, and then kind of just transitioning that storyline, the up-tempo offense. You guys have heard it all week in the preview as well. Tennessee, the fastest offense in the country right now, with how many plays and how many snaps they're going. And that's going to be, I know that's worrisome for everybody. And this Todd Grantham defense that just seems to be an Achilles heel of his. Third down and up-tempo offenses. There you go. So maybe we'll see how that translates there. Also, he's been able to take advantage of some bad quarterbacks or average to bad quarterbacks, and that's what Tennessee has right now. So Todd Grantham cannot go out there and put a defense that cannot handle Hendon Hooker and Joe Milton. I mean, that's just the base of it right there. There's no way after what those guys have shown the first 3 weeks of the season. Going back to Pitt a couple weeks ago and Joe Milton just overshooting everything. I mean, that is the worry now. You have to hope now that this up tempo offense is the worry, and they have shown the ability their wide receivers to get open, get behind coverage, and their quarterback Joe Milton just completely overthrows them. So what you have to worry about there is the consistency of that still happening. You can't let the big play happen because we have seen these DBs now give up some coverage and get guys behind them. So whoever your safeties are tomorrow, Trey Dean, Mordecai McDaniel, Rashad Torrance, those guys are going to have to be the deepest player on the field when they play defense many times. Don't let anybody behind you. You're going to have to play center field. You're going to have to be the deepest guy on the field. Don't let the big play happen. So we'll see how Florida plays that and what Tennessee can draw up to maybe where the safeties are out of position and it's a one-on-one battle with the receiver in the corner. But a lot of times Florida's is going to have to play safety deep and don't let anybody behind you because that's what Tennessee's been able to show. The big play is there. They just can't hit it. So I think Florida's going to pressure up front a bit. So I don't know how many deep shots Tennessee is really going to be able to get if the Florida defensive line is pressuring and creating havoc all game long. That's what you want to happen. That's the only way Tennessee's going to beat Florida. They're not going to march up and down the field. Now they may get their yards, they may march up and down till like we kind of saw the first couple games around the 40, 30-yard line. The classic bend don't break kind of defense there from Florida, and that you may and then probably it's going to get on your nerves a little bit tomorrow because I think you are going to see that with what Tennessee has shown and trying to hit that big play. And I think Florida may play a little more safe than we want them to, but it really might be the best play. Now I'm not going to say all game. You got to mix it up. And you don't want to see Tennessee dink and dunk their way all game long and basically control the clock on their side. You want the Florida offense to have the ball. So I'd like to see the defense get a little more aggressive, but sometimes the right play is going to be dial it down, just dial it back a little bit. And see if first of all, just see if your defensive line can control the game. If your defensive line can control the game and you dial it back in the secondary a little bit, well, that may work. But it's just, I think with the way and what Tennessee has shown so far, does Grantham go a little more conservative than we want him to? Because if you go and look at it, now Florida has pressed a little bit more than we saw last year, but a lot of the press has really come from Kyer Elam. And if he's not out there, does Grantham trust Avery Helm to go out there and press as much? Does he trust Jason Marshall to go out there and press as much as what Kyer Elam has shown these first 3 games? And if he doesn't, then I know we all hate it, and I don't like it either. I think you see what those guys can do in that situation. Maybe you started early in that man coverage, but then the ability for the big play to be hit on you is going to be there. And if you're going to play man and then let these Tennessee receivers, because that's what they have shown so far. As I said, they've shown to be able to beat their guy on the other side of them and get behind them. So if you're going to play bump and run, if you're going to bring up the coverage a bit, those players are going to have to show up. Those players are going to have to show their worth in that man coverage for Todd Grant to go out there and trust them. And if he doesn't, and if they go out there early on and you see the big play given up, or at least Tennessee try it and they don't hit it, Grantham's going to get conservative again, and he's going to draw those DBs back, and we're not going to see the man coverage, the press man coverage we all want to see so much of. So it's going to be an interesting chess match early. I think with Kyer Elam not out there, he's been pressing a whole lot. Helm, Marshall, we'll see if they can do it as well with these Tennessee receivers and that Tennessee offense coming to the swamp. But and also look, I mean, I said it in the preview too. I think the ability, the big playability for the Florida offense can be there too. I think teams are now going to have to worry about the Florida run game. They're going to have to scheme for it. They're going to have to practice for it. And there's going to be a lot of one-on-one coverage. There's going to be a lot of stacking the box versus this Florida run game, and that's going to leave some receivers in a lot of one-on-one coverage. And Florida's this passing game going to have to take advantage of it. I think it's going to be there now with teams having to worry about Davis, Pierce, and Emery, AR. The whole run game is going to draw those defenses up. And look, that's what we talked about all offseason. If this run game was going to be anywhere what we thought they were going to be, and they could run the ball, that's going to help the passing game. It's going to help. There's going to be easier zones, easier passing windows, and the propensity now to push the ball down the field. And that's what I think that's what's going to come. That's this Florida run game having a lot of success now. So I think the offense we thought we'd see if there was some success in the run game, I want to see it early and often. I want to see the big play in the passing game earlier. I think the run game is going to be there no matter what. Can you now scheme for it? Can you now take advantage of it? Can you now take advantage of defenses that have to worry about it? I think this would be the game we really find out there. So now what could draw that back is Mullen could say, well, as fast as their offense is, do we really want to give them the ball a lot? So I think you try the big play, see if you can get a quick score, see if you can get up 7-0, then maybe dial it back down, start eating some clock, keep that Tennessee offense on the sideline. But I think you can now at least show the ability. The big play will be there on the offense, the big passing play, because of the run game working so well. All right, guys. I've done plenty of talking this week, so this is more about you guys there. But hop in, ask some questions, give me something you're looking forward to versus Tennessee, something you're worried about versus Tennessee, if you're worried about anything there versus Tennessee. But look, and the other big question this week: how Florida handle post Bama? Yeah, I'm not even sure if you really call it a hangover, but now you're getting patted on the back. Look, even even in a loss. Now, not from the fan base so much. I mean, there is some from the fan base, but you're getting patted on the back. You're getting lauded for a loss. Um, so how do you respond with that? Mullen said Monday he was a little worried because the team was a little quiet in the team meeting, going out to practice, and then they wouldn't had. I think he said their best day of practice of the season on Monday. So that's things we talked about all week. You go and you take the good from the game. There's a lot to learn from the game. There's a lot of things you did good. So you go work on the things you did good, you make those things even better. And then you go see if you can be consistent in that regard. The things you did good, okay, you did it good. Can you keep doing those good things? Can you build on that? And then, as Mullen said, now you got to go out there and do the mental things right. And this is where the mental side of the game is really going to come in huge for the Gators moving forward. There was a lot of mental mistakes there going against Bama. You had the missed plays, the dropped interception, the 2-point conversion was. You can look at that play from all kind of angles. They looked like they couldn't hardly get the play in. They looked confused when they lined up, and then the play itself. Uh, Emory and the handoff, the miscommunication. So a lot of things to move forward with, good and bad, but at least we are hearing from the head coach, head man himself that had a good practice on Monday there for the Gators. So,
Well, so we controlled the line of scrimmage a lot last week. We got to be aware of Tennessee, obviously seeing that and try to attack us downfield because they know the running probably won't be there, right? So
yeah,
we got to be alert on the back ends. Watch out for the deep shots. I know they play fast, right? They get to the line of scrimmage and play fast. So with that being said, you can see a running play, then the next play be a shot, right? So you have to always be aware of down the distance and what we have in front of us, and ultimately get to the next down, right? So I'm
Hey, Mike,
interested.
tell me something. Tell me, you got a quick second?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me something on this. So go back to prepping for Oklahoma because that's what Josh Heupel was running here with
Yep.
Tennessee.
Yep.
That's exactly the same style of offense, same
Same
tempo,
thing.
all that stuff. So go back. We've heard the stories of preparing for Oklahoma,
It
and
was awful.
there's two. Well, I mean, look, what? Tell me this is true. There were two offenses on the field, and you guys
Yeah.
went back.
So I
Okay.
so preparing for Oklahoma, they were one of the pioneers of getting that offense going. They were running two plays within seconds of each other, and we it's hard to kind of simulate that in practice. So what we did was had a offense running a play, and we had a second offense ready to go. So as soon as that play was over, they would switch, and the new offense would come in and run the play. So I'm not sure if Dan and those guys did that in practice this week, but that was a great simulator for us, and it helped us out a lot. I will tell you this: if they didn't do that, I don't think they're scoring us. But anyway, that's besides the point. Hopefully we can get the calls. My coach Heater, DB coach, used to always tell us you don't have to be on the right page, just on the same page, right? So if we can't get the play in, it has to be a universal call. Hey, check the cover 2 or whatever the case may be, whatever they decide on. That if we can't get the call in fast enough, we just play that play and get to the next down.
Yeah, and look, Muller was part of that team. He was OC for that team, so he saw it. He saw you guys working on that. So I'm like you. Hopefully, I don't. We don't know if that. I tried to
Yeah,
listen to his
absolutely.
radio. I tried to listen to his radio show last night to see if he said anything about that. They brought that game up, and he didn't necessarily say if that's what they were doing in practice this week. But I
Sure.
hope so because that's what helped you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Well, good luck to my guys. Thanks for doing this show every week, man. It's awesome just to listen to, get some insight.
Thanks, Amaya. Thanks for hopping in there, man.
All right, take care, guys.
All right, let's get Joe in here. Joe, you in here, man? Make sure you unmute your mic if you're trying to speak. I'm not sure if you're ready to go, but all right. Well, anyway,
You hear me?
I got you.
Yeah. What's the Elam? Is he going to play tomorrow?
Doubtful. Doubt he plays tomorrow. We talked about that earlier, so you probably missed that. But yeah, all good.
Yeah,
all
I
good.
missed.
Yeah.
How about AR-15?
Kind of the same thing. I discussed that at the very beginning of this space there. AR-15, we don't know. He'll get another MRI today. So everybody else who missed the beginning of it is kind of a quick refresher. AR get another MRI. We'll see where he stands. I say play him if he's 100%. If you have any questions whatsoever, rest him another week, get him ready for Kentucky next week, which I think is the toughest game. But I don't think you can replicate game reps, so I think more game reps helps AR. For Elam, doubtful, knee sprain. Go back and look at that hit last week with him and Trey Dean. I believe it was Trey Dean, get tangled up a little bit. And there's a still picture out there somewhere I saw on Twitter, and that angle for Elam's leg did not look too pretty. So hopefully he's all okay. He did speak to the media on Monday. Not that really gives us too much insight, but I would assume if it was really serious, they wouldn't put him in that position. But we'll see. I think it's a good test now for Helm and Marshall going against this up-tempo Tennessee offense, a defense that's offense that likes to go deep and test the defense. So Marshall, Helm, better be ready. We'll see what Blades, if he's ready to return back to the defensive back rotation. I think if so, you'll expect to see him out there. And maybe Perkins as well, somebody who didn't play a lot versus Alabama last week. We'll see if he gets some more of an opportunity after a first couple good weeks of the season, but we didn't see him a whole lot last week versus Alabama. So we'll see what this DB rotation looks like. I think we, besides Helm and Marshall, definitely just want to see where Blades and Perkins are in the rotation as well.
Thanks for taking my question.
Thanks, Joe. I'll get Chaz in here.
Hey, Dave, I just want to sneak one in. I know you work with Josh Pate sometimes, and he mentioned kind of the attitude week to week being hugely different, I guess, since Dan came on. You see, like, any bigger progressions in that, like, kind of in the locker room, how guys act, what they say, stuff, versus last year at all?
That would be just a guess on my part right now. I think tomorrow will tell us a whole lot. I will tell you, I like the makeup of this team with a Zachary Carter up front, somebody who's been around the program, somebody who just kind of knows the expectations by now. Look, and they even said going into the preseason, those transfers that come in were leaders as well. As soon as they stepped on campus, look, you had to see how that translated onto the field and how they would play. But at least the mental side, the verbal communication, the leadership that could maybe come from that side of it, you're getting that from Valentino. You're getting that from Newkirk. Guys have been around the block as well. You got Elam on the back end, Dean on the back end. I think they have, and now Moon at linebacker. So I think you have, at least on defense, you have a guy at every level that they can point to and look up to as far as leaders go. On offense, of course, Emery's been around the program. I know Dan trusts Emory a lot, and that's why Emory's out there. I mean, he made some really good checks last week versus Alabama, put the team in the right play a little bit. So that's where his experience can come over. Now, not a lot of experience in that leadership role, and I think that comes along with it too. But at least the leader in a way that he knows the expectation. He's been around Mullen, but you go to that running back room. I mean, there's plenty of Pierce and Davis. Guys have been around the program. The attitude, I think, is good between those guys as well. Up front, Garage has been here for a while now as well. Stuart Reese, who's been recruited back by this staff back in Mississippi. So I think there's a lot of guys you can really point to that won't let this team get down so much and pick them up after that Bama loss. And you heard them say all the right things this week, and we'll see how that translates onto the field. But you at least got to get that part right first, and now we'll see where they can pick that part of it up and move forward throughout the rest of the year. But Tomorrow will tell us a whole lot. I don't want, if it's a closer game than I expect, I'm not going to get down on the team. Of course, I think we'll see how it looks. And look, this is the game you should win, of course. But we'll see how the game looks. Maybe I hate to try and tell so much from body language or anything like that. But we'll see what the team looks like tomorrow.
Yeah, agreed. I'm just more confident, I guess, in a team that we had so much attrition, but it's just like in years past, it's always like, oh my gosh, we lost all our best players. Like, what are we going to do? And, but not like nowadays, with CDM in charge and obviously Todd seemed like he's turned defense around, the guys brought in. So it's been an easier time to breathe, I guess, in the off season, but always looking forward to it. And again, always appreciate your insights and your input and your dedication to task, man. It's been great.
Hey, thank you so much, man. Thanks for those kind words.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going on about a little over 40 minutes or so. So about wrap it up. I don't see anybody else in here. I'll give it another minute or so if anybody else wants to jump in here. Usually when I do that, then we'll get a flood, and the episode just kind of keeps going. But we'll see. We'll see here. But nobody else jumping in there. Good stuff from Ahmad. I'm glad he was able to get in here too, and I think my recording part of it figured out around that part too. So there'll be a little bit of break I'll have to edit right there. So if it sounds weird, that's what happened, guys. But here we go. Let's see. Get Dimitri in here. What's up, Dimitri?
What's up, Dave? Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, man. I was just trying to wonder, man, like we really need to work on our goal line, like our DBs staying home on goal line instead of just thinking everything's gonna go up the middle. Because that's the second week in a row that the player just went straight to the outside when our DBs are just reaching out at them. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we have to clean that up because people are going to see that. You know what I mean? They know they can't go up the middle. They haven't been going up the middle the whole game. So our DBs have to stay home and stay consistent because if our DBs stay home, those are easy tackles. You know what I mean? At least being able to hold them up or, not just let them walk into the end zone because that happened to us on the South Florida game as well, down on the goal line.
Yeah, tough to know. Hopefully, and I'm glad you're picking up on that. We'll see what the calls are now. Maybe you probably have to throw that into the mix as well. That could be,
because if you run a cornerback blitz, if our corners shoot in from the outside right there, that's easy tackles, but they're not even staying home. They're getting sucked into the middle of the play where all the beef is at. You know what I mean? So like we really have to work on that, man, because I know other teams are picking up on that. Like, why don't we just shoot it to the outside instead of just going, because they're just walking in, and every time you can see our DBs are just reaching their hand out, like, oh, what's going on? I didn't know he can run out this way. Like, we got to be more disciplined in that area.
Yeah. So tough not knowing what the call is from the defense, but hopefully that's something. If it's a call thing, then hopefully the coaching staff figures that out and not calling, the defensive call to play the offense coming up the middle. But if what you're saying, what comes out too, then if the call is there and those guys are taking it upon themselves not to do the right thing, well, then you got to coach that too eventually. So. I mean, I want to go back to short yardage offense too. That was something that kind of worried me. Go after FAU and USF. I thought we saw Florida being able to put those 10, 11 play drives together, getting into the red zone and scoring. That was an issue the first couple of weeks in the season as well. So I'll shift your conversation to the other side of the ball just a little bit too. But I just
yes, sir.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see what this this defense comes up with. I'm interested in seeing also how they handle the Tennessee run game. So maybe going to your point, if Tennessee's at the goal line, their quarterbacks are going to be involved running plays as well. So I think something to look out for there.
All right, go Gators.
Go Gators, man. All right, that will do it here for this Twitter Spaces ahead of Florida, Tennessee. Glad you guys got to join in. It was a good conversation there on that one. Plenty of you jumped in here. Thanks once again. Doesn't happen without you. But if you don't mind, if you got some extra change laying around, you can join Gators Breakdown Plus. A little $3 a month. Got a good chat room going on there. All kind of topics going on in that Discord server. Regular college football. There's a NFL chat room. There's a betting chat room. A tickets chat room for people who are looking for tickets. Plenty of stuff going on there on Gators Breakdown Plus. Extra episodes as well. Q&A episode. That's really, really fun. I send out the email every week. Get some good questions from Gators Breakdown Plus members. There's an extra episode there. You can have even more of my thoughts on this Gator team. Some really good questions sent every week there. So some extra content going on there at Gators Breakdown Plus. Support the sponsors as well. MyBookie, Manscaped, and Four Rivers. If you want some, look, guys, I'm telling you, I'm not even joking. I'm not even trying to pump up a sponsor here. But Four Rivers last week, sponsoring that Alabama tailgate. That was so good. I've never had their sliders before, and man, had the pulled chicken sliders, and those things were amazing. Those things were really, really good. So check out Four Rivers if you go in their store, or if you call and order, just mention Gators Breakdown, and you get $5 off $25 or more. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining this Twitter space. Gators Breakdown Plus post-game show will be right after the Tennessee game as well. And we'll be back here on Sunday to break it all down on Gators Breakdown post Florida and Tennessee.